Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Bob here, and we're back in Everquest on Project 1999. And I just noticed that I'm sitting on Casa here, quite unintentionally, and it kind of reminds me of that guy from Total Recall. Is it Quarto? Except the head's popping out the back rather than out the front. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm at the Cynthia camp in Raft Mountains. And yeah, it's essentially probably about as doozy as you can get, I would say. She takes, assuming that I hit for full damage, she takes about 3 nukes. I've just started the fight, as you can see, and that is basically it. And then you sit down again. There you go. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Yeah, that's it basically. What more can I say? It's a pretty doozy of a camp. You know, it's an easy camp if all you want to do is kill something. And then just sit down for 6 minutes and stuff. If you've got lots of stuff to do, it's brilliant. Nothing aggroes you. The undead skeletons and cyclopses don't come close enough. If I guess a monk, if they were being a bastard, or someone else with feigned death could train stuff over, and yeah, feigned death, they wanted to do that. But essentially, yeah, I can kill it, go about the business, then come back again. Yeah, it's pretty easy, really easy actually. And that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. You know, I'm doing other stuff through the course of the day, and yeah, the evening I should say. And yeah, I'm just coming back and killing Cynthia. She's a wizard, and literally like 3 winters raw, and it's pretty much fight over. Sometimes with any caster, sometimes it can go a bit skewy, a bit like when I was fighting the treants. You know, if they get a couple of resists and they get a couple of spells off on you, you know, then it can be a bit of a pain in the arse. But generally the fight goes really easy, and you know, you barely exert yourself, and you can come back and start again. And it's funny with little camps like this. I keep trying to come up with just little things to make it a bit easier for myself, like when to send my pet in, when to cast my first nuke, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's quite fun. But that's what I'm doing. I've got Mugwort's I've kicked Mugwort back off again. We're giving him a kick up the backside, just telling him that we need to be doing some stuff, and that's what we're doing. This will be a quick video, quicker than the last video, but I just wanted to sort of talk a little bit about the RMT bans that happened recently. About 400 accounts were banned apparently, because of RMTing. And I have to say, you know, up until recently, I used to sit on the forums a bit, and I wasn't even really sure exactly what it stood for. You know, obviously like rate my trousers or something. I don't know. You know, I just had no idea. I knew what it was, but I didn't know what the letters stood for. And it's been a big one. You know, apparently there's one or two RMTers. And essentially all it seems to be like most accounts that have been linked to receiving stuff from these RMT accounts have essentially been banned. I think 2 or 3 of them may have been reinstated, if you were able to, you know, prove your innocence or in some way. But essentially it seems as though it's been a pretty big thing. I'd have to say that I've kind of noticed that it certainly affected the server numbers. I mean, I don't know how many of these accounts are active, and I would imagine like some of them probably were people with more than one account. But yeah, it's interesting, and there's been quite a lot of stuff going on the forums, as you can imagine. It's quite a laugh just to go and have a bit of a look. I think a bit of a read at some of the stuff. Yeah, it's weird, really. I kind of looking at the forums, I think there's kind of, you know, badness on both sides, to be perfectly honest with you. People who obviously got the people who have kind of bought platinum or whatever it is for real money. You know, that's obviously an issue. A lot of people sort of dead against that. A lot of people just see it as a way of kind of enjoying the game, but they're pretty casual, so they haven't really got the time to put in. That seems to be the excuse anyway. I say excuse. That excuse is a bit negative, isn't it? It's a reason that people are using. I'm kind of on the fence, really, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't RMTing. To be honest with you, I just don't give a shit. I mean, I would never do it, but that's purely because it's against the rules, essentially. In real life, I'm quite lawful about sort of rules. It's weird because I'm also quite out. I'm very anti-establishment, and also very against authority. To a certain extent, but there are certain, but I'm the sort of person where if there's a speed limit, you have to follow the speed limit. That if there's a sign that says don't play football on the grass, you don't play football on the grass. It's those kind of things that I kind of quite respect, and I think everyone should follow. But obviously, you got the stupid stuff, that the government do and police, that kind of thing, and I'm kind of a bit I'm a bit of a bit weird in that regard, with regards to the laws. I guess I kind of, the laws that suit me, I'm quite happy to to go along with. But I don't know. I think there's a distinction in rules and laws. I think there are certain things that someone has put in place for a reason, and it's important that we all follow those. But then there are certain laws and rules that are just bloody stupid, and someone's put it in place just because it serves a purpose for them. And I'm pretty much against that. But I would never do it just because it's a rule of the server. They say you don't do it, so I wouldn't do it. But at the same side, I can understand why people do it. Someone like me, I could go and spend, I don't know, I could have bought 1 million plat, say, probably quite easily. What would I do with it then? Well, I suppose I would just make my journey through the game easier. I buy myself a fungi tunic and whatever, and just make things easier. But as I said, it's not something I would do because the people who run the server decided that's not what they want on their server. I think you've got to respect that. Also, as well, I probably, even if it wasn't an issue, I wouldn't do it anyway. I don't think, because I've done a bit of twinking, but I have to say it's been apart from the time where someone lent me a fungi tunic, it's generally been we're talking about a few thousands of plat rather than anything crazy. And that plat kind of came from me selling something that I was selling a couple of things that I was given. And I kind of regret selling them now, to be perfectly honest with you, because I think they were something that quite special, and quite rare on the server, and I kind of feel a bit bad and a bit sort of stupid that I did it. I wish I'd have kind of held on to them, but there you go. You live and learn. But yeah, I think the problem is that it just, why would you want to? I've come back to Everquest for the classic experience and everything that goes with that, I guess. The toughness, the fact that the game just kicks your butt, the fact that magic items are so. The thing with Everquest that massively changed in other MMOs was, if you come into the server and you've got nothing and no one gives you anything, and you purely make your way up on your own, you probably won't see like fairly decent magical items for ages, because most of the low level mobs just never drop magical items. Most of the decent stuff is in a dungeon, so it would be playing the game purely, you would be decked out in non-magical equipment for a fair amount of time, I think, if you played it, so that if anyone offered you anything, you refused it, that kind of thing. You want to do it all yourself. Yeah, amazing, really. When you think about it, certainly in comparison to sort of newer MMOs now, but yeah, but that's the other thing. We've come here for the classic experience, and I think RMT just kind of defeats the object. I can understand it to a certain extent, as I said. It's if you've only got a couple of hours, a few hours a week, I should say, to play, and your time's quite fragmented and sort of all over the place. I can understand why you might want to do that. And personally, I don't have anything against RMTing, in the sense that I feel that people that do it are really bad people. I just don't think we should do it because that's a rule of the server. If it wasn't the rule, not a problem. But so if you look on a forum, some people kind of take that further. There are some people who seem to have taken it as a personal insult that someone was RMTing, and you look at it and you kind of think, well, a lot of this is not really down to the fact that it's not a, it's not a, the rule on servers you can't do it. You just seem to have taken a real personal sort of insult the fact that people are doing it, and I have to say I find that quite a lot of it not particularly genuine. I'm sure there are some people who are genuine, but I'm not. I kind of think there's people on both sides where the people who are RMTing, and or even people that are not but just don't have much time to play, probably look at the people who have a lot of time to play and they feel jealous, I guess. They want to, they wish they had more time to play. They wish they had the investment in the game to be able to get the items that they want and whatnot. So maybe that leads to them sort of buying them. But I'm sure that there, again, on the looking at it from the other side, I'm sure there are people that just RMT because it's the easiest way and they don't really want to invest the time. They just want to get to the top as quickly as they can. On the other side of the fence, you've got the people who are against RMTing, and I have to say that I'm sure, reading between the lines, I'm sure there's an element of those people who don't like it, again, just because of the fact that they don't have the money to invest. They have the time, but they don't have the money. And so they kind of take it a bit personally, but the fact that someone can come here and just buy stuff that they're having to invest the time in to do. And I have to say, I think both groups are as bad as each other, to be honest with you. It is a game where it was designed for you to put time in, and it was supposed to take a lot of time for you to get where, to get up there and become someone who's got a lot of equipment and that kind of thing. But at the same time, as I said, I can understand the people on the other side who may be a bit jealous of those people who have got the time, and want to take a shortcut to getting to that point. So I think there's a bit of dishonesty on both sides. I don't think all the people screaming about the fact that RMTers are baby murderers, are necessarily doing it for the good of the server. I think secretly they just don't like the fact that they can only obtain the items by putting in the time, and they see people who are sort of just spending cash basically to buy the stuff. I also don't really believe the nonsense that it affects the economy of the server in any way, because to be honest with you, the economy of the server is fucking screwed anyway. Let's be quite frank. I think because the server's been stuck in the same place for so long, really you've just got a lot of people at the top with just probably a lot of spare money and a load of equipment. You kind of hear about people's second or third twinks having fungi tunics. It's just ridiculous, really. So I don't go along with that either. I personally don't think it might do if a server started new and it followed a timeline. I can see a point where if people had kind of raised their head and gained a load of plat and were selling it, I can see how it might be an issue. But the way the server is at the moment and where it is, I don't particularly think that that's I don't think that's a good enough reason for not doing it. But as I said, getting right back to I think that the basis of it, and ultimately it's the fact that it's against the rules, and everyone should respect that. I don't personally know anyone, I don't think, that have been banned. Saying that, there's sort of one or two people that I've kind of speak to in game, and I haven't seen them for a bit. And also there's sort of like one or two people that I've kind of don't really know particularly well, but I've kind of spoken to them in game, and I was quite surprised that they always seem to have a ton of platinum. From what I can tell, I don't think that they had any high level, any level 60s. But they always seem to have a ton of platinum to sort of deck out new characters. And again, I've got no idea if someone in game has just been particularly generous to them, or or they bought platinum. I've got no idea. But yeah, it does. When you kind of think back, you think to yourself, well, that was a bit weird. But yeah, what can you do? Anyway, yeah, that's the big topic at the moment on the server, and there's quite a lot going on over on the forums. A couple of people have been quite honest, I think, come forward and said, yeah, I did it, I just did it, because I just wanted to get ahead as quickly as I could. I didn't have the time to invest, and that's fair enough. I can understand that perfectly, but at the end of the day, no, you shouldn't have done it. But but there you go. That's it. And as I said, that's the big news. There's been a couple of high, I say high profile. If you're into forum quest, I suppose it's probably high profile. If you're not, you've no idea who they are. But there's a couple of people who are apparently quite high profile on the forums in the game who have been caught by it. Yeah, and it's kind of you get this strange thing, don't you, where people try to, they've been caught. It's kind of a fair cop, but then they, there's an outpouring of just, I'm not sure if it's like a plea for pity, or like I'm really am a good guy, really, I just did this, and I don't know why I did it, but I did. But then I guess that all comes back to, again, the thing where why do you care? That's the thing. I mean, it's you've done it, and that's you've admitted it. But why do you need to try and then justify it to people that you don't even really know? They're just people on a forum. It's it's a weird thing. I mean, certainly if it was me and I'd done it and I'd been caught and my account been banned, I'd probably just go and that'd be it. I don't need to justify it to anyone. I don't need to want people that I don't even really know, and particularly on the forums, who just could quite easily be a bunch of bloody idiots anyway. I wouldn't feel that I'd need to say anything to them or try and explain myself. But again, I guess that's the thing, isn't it, really? When you look at, it's that whole sort of thing linked into social media sites and stuff, where for some reason everyone seems to think that everyone else gives a shit about what they're doing, and what they think. It's a bit weird, really. But anyway, that's that, and I'll probably end the video here. You've seen me kill Cynthia a few times. Not particularly interesting, guys, I know. But yeah, it's just kind of what I'm doing at the moment. I did cast the Spirit of Wolf on this Necromancer earlier. Actually, probably watching him is more interesting than what I'm doing. To be honest. But this is just what I happen to be doing. He's fear kiting these skeletons, although he's not actually fear kiting. He's kind of he's aggro kiting them, isn't he? I don't know why he doesn't fear it. Maybe he's worried about it, sort of pulling aggro. But I'm going to sit myself down and just carry on with my camping. I'm kind of hoping to make some fairly quick process over the next week or two. I am going to be playing Elder Scrolls Online, as I said, but what I might do in between that is just sit here and gain some experience with. I might be able to sort of, I play Everquest in a window, so I might be able, and I've got sort of 2 or 3 monitors running, so I might be able to sort of keep Everquest running while I play Elder Scrolls Online. I think the PC's probably easily capable of that. I know that I could probably run, I could certainly easily run a couple of Everquest clients, I think, probably. I'm sure I can probably manage that. So I might do that, so I can at least continue to make progress, because I want to start getting into the totemic quests again and that kind of thing. And just get somewhere. Anyway, guys, sorry about that. Bit of a random ramble about RMTing. Rate my trousers, and I'll speak to you again soon.